Okay, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today we're looking at how a classic tale brilliantly uses storytelling as a literal matter of life and death. We're going to examine one of the absolute foundational stories from the Arabian Nights, the tale of the merchant and the genie. But, we aren't just reading a fable today. We are breaking down the architectural genius of suspense, structure, and survival. Have you ever wondered why we literally cannot stop watching a gripping television series? Well, the mechanics of that addiction were perfected centuries ago, and we're going to see exactly how it was done.
I want you to start by asking yourself a pretty crazy question. Can a date pit cost your life? Imagine you're on a long, exhausting business trip. You sit down under a tree just to escape the scorching heat for a minute. You pull out a quick snack, some dates, and lazily toss the pits over your shoulder. It's a totally careless, mundane act, right? Nothing more than an afterthought. But what if I told you that this simple, everyday action could instantly result in a death sentence?
Section 1. Punishment for an unknown crime. A careless act with cosmic consequences. So, our story begins with this honest merchant just taking a break in the shade. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer absurdity of the contrast. On one side, we have a tiny, completely harmless date pit that the merchant just lazily tosses away. On the other side, well, as soon as he eats that last date, the wind howls, dust swirls, and a massive, furious genie appears out of absolutely nowhere, his face red with rage and a giant sword drawn. The genie roars that he's going to execute the merchant. Why? Because one of those lazily tossed date pits flew through the air and struck the genie's invisible son directly in the eye, killing him instantly. It's this terrifying collision of our mundane human world and a lethal, unpredictable cosmic world. As you can imagine, the stakes here are absolute and completely unyielding. The merchant falls to his knees, trembling with terror, just begging for his life. He explains the obvious. It was a total accident. He couldn't even see the sun. But his pleas fall on completely deaf ears. The genie coldly claims the absolute legal right to execute him right there on the spot. An eye for an eye, a life for a life. The merchant's fate seems entirely sealed. Section 2. A year's reprieve from death. One final wish. Realizing that crying and begging won't change the genie's mind, the merchant asks for just one thing: a single year of life. And over this final year, he doesn't use the time to run or hide. Check this out. From months 1 to 4, he diligently settles all his outstanding debts. Then, from months 5 to 11, he fairly divides his property among his wife and children to ensure their future is secure, and he says his tearful goodbyes. And then, at month 12, proving his absolute unwavering honesty, he walks right back to that exact same tree to wait for the genie's sword. He honors his promise, establishing himself as a truly good, honorable man who keeps his word even when it means certain death. Section 3. 3 strangers and a deal. An unexpected audience. So the merchant is sitting under the tree, crying, just waiting for the executioner. But instead of a monster, 3 incredibly bizarre strangers arrive, each leading an animal. The first old man has a gazelle, the second old man has 2 black hounds, and the third old man has a mule. The merchant explains his tragic situation, and the old men are so fascinated they actually decide to stay and watch. But as the source text reveals, these aren't just normal pets. The gazelle? That's actually a magical first wife who had turned her husband's second wife and son into a cow and a calf. The hounds are jealous brothers who literally tried to drown the second old man, and the mule is a treacherous, spell-casting wife. These bizarre micro-narratives hint that there is deep, dark magic just waiting to be unleashed. Just as we're digesting the absolute weirdness of these strangers, the deadline hits. A massive cloud of dust rises high into the sky. The terrifying genie materializes, sword drawn, marching forward to claim his legal revenge. The tension is at an absolute peak right now. The merchant's doom is literally seconds away. So, the crucial point is what happens next. The first old man steps directly in front of the raging genie and proposes a brilliant negotiation tactic. Step 1. He promises to tell the genie a story so amazing, so mind-bending, that it surpasses the merchant's own crazy situation. Step 2. If the genie is entertained, he must trade exactly 1/3 of the merchant's blood debt for the story. Think about that. They are literally turning storytelling into a high-stakes currency. Section 4. Stories saved a life. The power of narrative currency. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the debt is paid. It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
The first old man tells his magical tale of the gazelle, the cows, and the calves. The genie loves it, and boom, a 33.3% slice of the death sentence is wiped out. Then the second old man steps up, telling the thrilling story of his treacherous brothers and a helpful mermaid. Just like that, another third of the life meter is filled. Finally, the third old man tells his tale of the mule. The entire debt of blood is mathematically paid off, piece by narrative piece.
And you know what? It completely works. The sheer power of entertainment conquers raw vengeance. The genie, thoroughly captivated and having completely forgotten his blinding anger, sheaves his giant sword. He legally spares the merchant's life, honors the bargain, and vanishes into thin air. Against all odds, the honest merchant actually gets to go home to his family.
Let's move on and see how this builds, because we need to pull the camera all the way back now. Section 5. Scheherazade's magical trick, the ultimate cliffhanger.
See? The merchant, the genie, the three old men, they're all fictional characters being spun by the ultimate mastermind, Scheherazade. Just as she finishes the tale of the merchant's survival, morning breaks in the real world. She pauses her narrative right in front of her husband, the incredibly dangerous King Sharnar, who executes his wives every single morning. The fictional merchant's escape from the genie's sword is a direct, brilliant mirror of Scheherazade's very real attempt to survive the king's executioner.
This is her genius strategy in action. She looks right at the king and says, "The story of the genie and the merchant is just the beginning. Tomorrow night, I will tell you a story far more magical and exciting if you let me live." She brilliantly plays the king, leveraging his desperate, burning curiosity. She uses the exact same tactic the old men used on the genie. She trades a story for her life, buying herself just one more day.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Did Scheherazade just invent the cliffhanger? Think about the mechanics we just explored. She leaves the king and the reader hanging on the edge of their seats, absolutely needing to know what happens next. It really makes you wonder, if a sword was hanging over your head, could you craft a narrative compelling enough to save your own life? It is a brilliant testament to the power of a perfectly structured story. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.